Maximus Reacts in the building. We've got the Infographics Show again. How AI would run a country. Now, this is interesting. This is uncharted territory, and I want to learn something today, so I hope you can come learn something with me. Infographics Show, run it.
But there are no candidates, no voting, and no victory speech. Just one machine, a single blinking system. Every decision is instant, every action automatic. And the
who does bro look like? Doc Ock from Spider-Man?
entire country watches on, unsure what happens next.
No hair?
On today's episode of the Infographics Show, we're showing what happens when AI becomes the president. 9 a.m.
AI. No Allen Iverson.
Monday morning, government officials squeeze into the cabinet office. The Secretary of the Treasury pushes for more infrastructure spending. The Secretary of Health shoots back. Healthcare is still, after all these years, chronically underfunded. The Secretary of Defense, never to be outdone, argues that he needs a bigger budget too. Arguments fly, tempers rise. The only thing anyone can agree on is brewing a fresh pot of coffee. And which stale donut tastes the least awful. And then President Athena arrives. Athena,
Athena? Isn't this the name of a computer program and also ancient Greek mythology goddess of beauty?
Adaptive Threat and Health Executive National Algorithm doesn't need coffee, donuts, or hours of debate. It doesn't need any convincing either. In 2.3 seconds, it's already processed 30 years of federal spending across all 432 government programs.
Sheesh.
It feels like a...
I'm eons ahead of Elon's itchy little peons. Whoa. I'm eons ahead of Elon's techie little peons. Why does bro have bars though? Wait a minute, what the?
Moment, it identifies $47 billion in redundant spending. Suddenly it has the entire cabinet's attention. It turns out 7 different agencies were still funding malaria research in countries where malaria was eradicated back in...
Bro, see, this is what I'm talking about. Where is this money for homelessness? Where is this money for people in actual need?
1994. Athena then cross-references economic projections from all 50 states, maps CDC health patterns showing a diabetes crisis in the Midwest, and reviews FBI crime stats pointing to a fentanyl epidemic in Appalachia. And then, after running all of it together, it calculates the exact reallocation of funds needed to tackle every one of those problems at the same time, while still reducing the deficit by 3.2%. It achieves all this before any of the cabinet secretaries have chosen their glazed or frosted donuts. An AI president wouldn't need to multitask. It would omnitask. And that is precisely what makes it so appealing to so many today. Human leaders have to juggle priorities while hoping that they don't drop the ball on something critical. But an AI executive could monitor 1,000 real-time indicators at once, right down to the neighborhood level. It's like having a president with 1,000 eyes, 1,000,000 hands, and a brain that never sleeps. These types of systems are already being implemented. In 2020,
isn't there a system like that in the CIA called Aladdin?
Before the UK government
or the NSA?
Unleashed an AI tool to hunt down fraud across government programs. The Fraud Risk Assessment Accelerator scanned everything, from COVID loan fraud to illegal tax claims.
Yo, weren't there people still getting arrested like 4 years after COVID because of those scams?
People subletting government housing on Airbnb. The result was nearly $500 million recovered in a single year.
500
anti-fraud haul in UK government history. And then the AI caught a woman who invented an entire fake company, secured a $50,000 COVID bounce-back loan designed to save struggling business.
I heard about this, actually. This is what I was talking about.
And immediately wired the money to Poland. And it flagged thousands of cases.
There's another one who wired all the money to Mexico and dipped.
Different government departments were
rolling
pieces of the same fraud puzzle, but never had connected the dots. The AI in this case didn't need to be a super genius to be effective. It just had to be thorough in ways humans physically cannot be. A human fraud investigator might catch 1 scheme per month if they're good at their job.
One per month?
They've got to manually cross-reference multiple databases, follow paper trails, and submit requests to other departments. This means waiting weeks, if not months, for a response that may not arrive in time before the fraudster disappears. But the machine wasn't infallible. It was caught showing bias. Internal official documents revealed that the Department for Work and Pensions AI welfare fraud detector showed statistically significant outcome disparity based on age, disability, marital status, and nationality. If certain nationalities were flagged more often, the algorithm treated the pattern as meaningful instead of recognizing it as just prejudice baked into the training data. An AI president would have to monitor every policy, every program, every initiative in real time for those types of unintended consequences. But before we go any further, we want to thank the sponsor. Emotion meal changes. Stop discouraging subsidized corn production help farmers.
Well, what happened? I didn't even know.
That helped to fuel an obesity epidemic, driving up healthcare costs far beyond whatever the subsidies say. And AI would have caught that feedback loop in year 1, not year 30. Well, theoretically at least. In practice, you need humans monitoring the AI to catch its unintended consequences, and this brings us to Albania, who just decided to skip the theoretically part and send it in anyway. In January 2025, Albania's Prime Minister appointed Diella, an
OpenAI? Oh, I think I heard about this too.
In traditional Albanian dress, as a
bro was like chat GPTing presidency. Facepalm.
Government virtual assistant. Then in
Bro said, screw getting a college degree, I'll run a country on GBT.
September 2025, a
Or
presidential
OpenAI.
decree authorized the Albanian Prime Minister to formally appoint Diella as the Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence and Procurement. It was the first AI system in the world to be named in a cabinet-level government role.
Wow.
The goal?
AI became president before me, and most likely you too. How do you feel about that? You're gonna take that level of disrespect?
Was laudable, if not downright ambitious. They claimed that it could make Albania 100% free of corruption in public tenders. During her parliamentary debut, Diella delivered a bizarre 3-minute speech, declaring that it embodied the Albanian constitutional values as strictly as every human colleague, maybe even more. A bold claim for a large language model that is basically
What?
a sophisticated autocomplete. Anyone could see the problem here. It was built right into Diella's essence. Albanian officials never disclosed her training data, decision-making algorithms, or performance metrics. All that to say that ordinary Albanians have no way of examining how their public funds were being awarded. The system that is supposed to eliminate corruption is itself a black box.
I was
Even
about to
worse,
say, like, what?
Albania has no AI governance framework akin to the pioneering algorithm charter first employed by New Zealand public officials in 2020. The country hasn't adopted international AI principles, and its constitution assumes ministers possess human agency and accountability, concepts that don't exactly align with a chatbot running on Microsoft's cloud. When Diella makes a bad procurement decision, who is responsible? The prime minister who appointed her? Microsoft? OpenAI? The algorithmic?
Right, because it's like, when AI gets something wrong, which they will, who do you blame? The person who made the AI? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, what? That's how you run your
Good luck
country?
suing a neural network, but more on that later.
Bro,
There
AI
are
on
benefits
trial.
to AI leadership. The data advantage enables an AI to see the whole picture, while humans can only see a tiny fragment of it. Your senator fights for funding for his district because that's his job. He literally cannot see, or just doesn't care, that his win is coming at the expense of 12 other districts with greater needs. An AI sees all 13 districts, weighs the data, assigns priorities, and allocates the resources where they'll do the most good. The US could arguably have used this kind of technology back in 2015 when the Pentagon sat on an internal report showing $125 billion in wasteful spending. Instead, they buried it. Revealing that level of incompetence would be politically embarrassing, and it could hurt people's careers.
$125 billion
The report detailed
wasted.
identical services
That's wild.
is charged at wildly different rates. All of this stuff in AI would flag immediately because algorithms don't worry about making the Secretary of Defense look bad at congressional hearings. Hold up. Yeah,
Ha.
but efficient?
Ha.
Absolutely.
Thumbs down.
And that's the scary part. Because if you give that kind of efficiency to the right people, an AI president wouldn't have donors to repay with cushy government contracts.
Corruption, kickbacks, bribery, endorsers.
No lobbyists could whisper in its ear over
Lobbyists.
expensive stakes, and it definitely wouldn't need to fund a re-election campaign, which means that it can't owe favors
Corporations,
to anyone.
corporate greed.
Now let's talk about speed.
BlackRock.
Remember Hurricane Katrina back in 2005?
I
It was
do.
one of the greatest governmental failures and natural disasters in modern American
Facts.
history.
Who was president at that time? George W. Bush, right?
For days, people were stranded on rooftops. The Superdome became a humanitarian nightmare. Various state and federal agencies tried and failed to coordinate. Supplies rotted in warehouses.
Wasn't there
because
like
nobody had
drinking or
centralized
something
command
during
over
this
logistics
time?
information.
I don't know
An
if I'm
AI
making
disaster
that up.
response might have known in real
I
time
heard he
which
was
hospitals had
partying.
power, which roads were passable, and where people were trapped. It would be able to determine where supplies were needed and how to coordinate National Guard, FEMA, Coast Guard, and local responders instantly. Infrastructure projects? Well, Congress has been debating various infrastructure plans for decades. An AI president could analyze decades of road data, traffic patterns, economic projections, climate resilience needs, and population growth trends. 3 days later, it could spit out the optimal infrastructure plan, one that
Whoa.
mathematically maximizes public benefit per dollar spent. Currently held
So you guys think the government is already using ChatGPT and OpenAI to like solve problems, or do you just think like they already have their own thing, or is this just like hypothetical?
resources in the United States are allocated by which hospitals have the best
Because I know some of
lobbyists
these
and which
speeches,
represent
people have speech writers in the government. So I'm like, I know some of these speech writers use GPT or something that like already use their existing work. So I don't know.
representatives sit on which
I don't know.
committees, and AI is allocated by actual need. Things like population health data, disease patterns, access
And
to
don't they need to build data towers for the AI that is actually environmentally not safe? So isn't that even like sustainable?
and cost effectiveness all factor in. And with the right analysis, it might
And they have to build those factories too and destroy the environment.
reveal that rural Montana needs more funding than it is getting, while that prestigious Boston hospital
Cigar
is
is
actually over-resourced relative to
crazy on someone's deathbed.
patient outcomes. But
Bro's
here
like-
is where we also need to pump the brakes on this efficiency fantasy. Most of what we're even talking about remains a
Bro
pipe
was
dream.
sleeping
Denmark
good.
learned this the hard way with Unbetaling Denmark. their automated welfare payment system. It was designed to be fast, efficient, and unencumbered by human error. Instead, it made hundreds of thousands of errors. The issue with these types of automated government systems is that it merely automates the process without the cross-checking an AI president would supposedly perform. A proper AI governance system would have to verify against tax records, employment databases, healthcare needs, and other data points to catch its own errors before it destroys people's lives. In other words, you need even more sophisticated AI to avoid the problems of simple algorithmic automation. But sophisticated AI brings its own host of problems. Between 2013 and 2015, Michigan's Midas unemployment system falsely accused 40,000 people of fraud.
Imagine being one of those people, you did nothing wrong and you're getting, like, arrested.
Algorithm reached a 93% error rate.
93% error rate. That is horrible.
The Netherlands, where a government algorithm flagged parents for childcare benefit fraud based on dual citizenship. That
Facepalm.
scandal was so catastrophic that the entire Dutch government collapsed in 2021.
Yup, that's actually wild.
Detecting nuance with at least a sliver of human empathy.
AI literally crumbled their government.
Case matters.
Nice.
But it could get so much darker when you start to ask who.
Why does bro look like the final boss? Why is he smiling like this?
Into the machine. In the event an AI president analyzes climate data and decides the optimal solution is reducing populations in high emission regions, a statistically sound answer, yet also genocide.
See, AI has no feelings and emotions. They're like, oh wait, if I snap my finger, I can easily eliminate 20,000% carbon emissions. But it'll just cost 1 million lives. That's fine. Do
Who
it.
draws the line between optimization and atrocity? Or consider an AI weighing the maintenance of an underperforming rural hospital that serves a Native American.
Is that a
reservation
Native
with
American? This is too far, man. Too
alternative
far.
for 200 miles. A human leader might factor in historical injustices and treaty obligations, not to mention basic humanity. Would the algorithm? The UK
Yo,
system in 2018.
nah, Infographics Show. You guys are
Not to mention basic
bugging.
humanity.
This is
With the
crazy. This is the wildest thing I've seen in 26. An AI president holding a Native American upside down is crazy. Infographics, that's
Visa
wild.
system in 2018 rejected applicants from high-risk countries at higher rates than others. The algorithm learned from historical patterns, ones also shaped by human discrimination. Pattern recognition became automated racism. 2 years later, the UK's special exam scoring algorithm downgraded 40% of students during COVID lockdowns, as students couldn't take tests in person, and
That's
algorithm
not
predicted
fair.
their grades based on the school's historical performance.
Now,
When students
before.
protested, the government blamed the algorithm. When pressed, officials admitted humans designed the algorithm following governmental policy. It was the perfect
Blaming the algorithm is crazy.
accountability shield. The algorithm was just following orders. The humans were just following the algorithm. Chicago's predictive policing initiative from 2012 to 2019 accurately predicted crime. It also created various feedback loops that led to the over-policing of black neighborhoods, generating more crime data
Nice.
from those neighborhoods. That led the algorithm to send more police there, and the cycle repeated itself. The system was right and discriminatory at the same time. An AI president could reduce crime dramatically by implementing facial recognition everywhere. It could institute
They're already doing that.
predictive arrests and movement restrictions, and even censor destabilizing speech. And you'd have a host of people who would be better off. But it'd be hard to shake the eerie reality that you would really be living in a prison with better infrastructure. If a teenager posts an angry message about the government and AI flags the language as a radicalization risk,
Now bro's a terrorist for expressing his opinion.
would you accept a preemptive visit from the authorities?
No,
Crime can be
literally.
stopped
I'm pretty
before
sure
it
there's
happens.
movies about that too.
But freedoms can be trampled in the process. The algorithm can't tell venting from a real threat, which again brings us back to that intractable question, who do you sue when the algorithm screws up? In
Like, right, like, who are you calling? Who's the manager?
2018, an Uber self-driving car killed a pedestrian in Arizona. Who
What?
was responsible? The safety driver who wasn't paying attention and got 3 years probation? Uber's engineers, the algorithm that failed to recognize a person crossing the street. Now scale that up
That's wild. And they wanted to do those self-driving trucks, like, that's gonna be even wild
to
too.
the government. An AI president authorizes a drone strike that kills civilians suspected of plotting a terror attack. Who faces the consequences? Are there consequences if the algorithm determined it was
already
necessary?
gone.
And it doesn't stop there. In 2019, Apple Card gave husbands credit limits up to 20 times higher than their wives. They had identical finances, identical credit scores, shared accounts, but wildly different limits. The algorithm saw patterns in training data that led to gender discrimination, but the exact reasoning was buried in billions of mathematical weights and connections. Imagine that is allocating your healthcare, deciding your children's school funding, or determining which neighborhoods get police protection.
Right, like, algorithms aren't a true indicator in judging character. Like, if I prejudge everything before actually getting any substance or nuance, That would make me ignorant.
Still, you can't challenge a decision you don't understand, and that is precisely the problem we're facing. Facebook's algorithm radicalized millions toward extremism between 2016 and 2020.
All right,
Today,
Katie,
we are
let's
building
see
systems we don't
which
understand
Katie?
to make decisions we can't explain with consequences we can't predict. Here's what people actually want from the government: efficiency, accountability, empathy, incorruptibility, and democracy. AI excels at exactly two.
Efficiency, accountability, empathy, incorruptibility, democracy. E-A, E-A-E-D, E-I-D, ed, E-ed.
Two of those. AI governance is already being
Acronym.
beta tested piece by piece. Every time a judge in Wisconsin consults Compass software before sentencing,
Judge using
that's
AI is
governance.
crazy.
Every time London's facial recognition cameras scan the crowd, that is AI governance. Every time an algorithm decides who gets welfare benefits in Amsterdam,
So those police radar scanners are AI.
it's AI governance. It's
'Cause
not
they don't know
hypothetical
how fast
anymore.
you're going.
We're just debating how much farther to go down a road that we're already on, calling them efficiency tools instead of governance because, well, that sounds a little less alarming. Maybe the most terrifying scenario is AI competence at things nobody wanted or even needed. We asked for social media connection and we got polarization. We asked for delivery optimization and we got gig economy exploitation. We asked for crime reduction and got surveillance states. The pattern is always the same, and AI governance will be no different. We ask for efficiency and optimization and we'll get a government that can't be bribed, can't be fooled, and can't be stopped. It'll solve problems by redefining which problems are acceptable to have. And somewhere, sometime in the future, you may see a rogue programmer deleting a line of code that would have let citizens override AI decisions in case of emergency. Nobody noticed that the button was gone until they needed it. And by then, of course, it was too late. Efficiency is a one-way ratchet. Once you automate a decision, unautomating it feels like going backwards. So when you see the next headline about AI making government more efficient, you ask yourself, efficient at what? For whom? And who gets to decide when efficiency isn't worth the cost? Because once we hand over those decisions, we might never get them back. If you want to...
Great video from the Infographics Show. Honestly, I would not want AI to run anything, but I also don't know if I agree with human made, so maybe an alternative. Until next time, be safe, be